Let's talk some Colorado recruiting because I don't think people truly understand how far this team has come. The term roster flip, it's not just an overused cliche that we hear all the time. Colorado's actually doing this. And I got my boy Jake Schwanitz from DNVR on this video. We're going to talk about some Colorado recruiting buzz coming off of a huge weekend. We had Julian Lewis in Boulder, Carday Smith, the big offensive tackle who's also committed to USC. He was in town. The Buffs picked up another high school commitment. We're going to break it all down. But before we do, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. This is the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube. So jump on board and hit subscribe. All right. Bring in Jake. Jake, I'm jealous of you guys. It was amazing on Saturday night. The atmosphere just looked electric. How would you rank this atmosphere amongst the others in the Coach Prime era?
It's a great question. I mean, last year, those first couple games, Nebraska, Colorado State were electric and are going to go down in lore just because of what happened. And, Lil Wayne's coming out, all this crazy stuff. We didn't quite have that type level of craziness at Folsom on Saturday, but this one was definitely up there. I mean, the chance to get to bowl eligibility, obviously one of the best teams that Colorado football has had in many, many years, at least since 2016. So the fan base extremely excited. The recruits coming to town. This one was one for the books.
Yeah. And the reason I think I asked you this question is because I kind of think from like a purely football standpoint, this was the most electric atmosphere. And I say that because, yeah, of course, Coach Prime's debut in some of those games with Lil Wayne on the sideline and all the celebrities, but I feel like Folsom Field was actually packed with fans that wanted to see a Colorado win. They wanted to see Colorado get bowl eligible. And I feel like a lot of the excitement was surrounding the team, not the things off the field. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this fan base, they've been quiet, right? They've lost a lot of games over the last 8 or so years. I mean, you can go back 20 years, how much this team has lost. So this is a fan base starving for a winning football team to get to bowl eligibility. That's what they had the opportunity to see on Saturday night. The Buffs delivered. So this fan base, man, I'm telling you, they are juiced. They are excited. And we'll get into some of these recruits right now, too, who have them extra excited.
Yeah. So from a recruiting standpoint, how does it work at Folsom Field? Like how close can the recruits get to the action during the game? I know they can't stand on the sidelines. Recruits in every stadium have to be in a seat. So where are they seated in relative to like the Colorado bench or the end zone? How does it play out?
So, yeah, if you've seen a Colorado football game, it's like, like Stillwater and Oklahoma State. The fans are right on top of the teams, man. And the tunnel, it comes right out onto the field. I mean, seriously, it's probably 6 feet, 7 feet of space from the actual sideline to the wall where the stands are. So everyone is packed on top of each other. You can tell exactly when someone walks in to the field and walks out from the locker room. The seats are right there. I mean, the student section is huge too. So it goes from probably halfway to the Colorado sideline all the way to that Colorado concrete, that iconic end zone shot that you get. It spans a wide margin, but, Juju, Carday Smith, those guys, they were kind of sitting in the middle of that, still near the sideline, but in the corner mostly of the end zone. So we saw Draylon Miller out there in a situation like that when he came out to visit last year too. So they're right on top of it. They're right there with the students hanging out with, potentially their classmates.
Yeah, exactly. You were at the UCF game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've covered a game from that field, and that too feels like the stands are right on top. Is that similar to Folsom Field?
I'd say Folsom Field is more on top. I mean,
okay, so yeah, so in that UCF game, I like I said, I'm just media, right?
Yeah.
But the fans were so on top of the field that you can hear every discussion, every word, every bit of trash talk. So if you're saying Colorado Folsom Field is even closer than that, I mean, yeah, that I can't even describe how truly close the fans feel in a situation like that. And I'm sure it's a big proponent of why they play so well at home.
Yeah, I mean, there's the picture of Julian out there, where he goes up on that concrete hill. The fans have Juju on their chest, painted on and all that stuff. I mean, you can literally walk right up to the first row of fans out there in Folsom. I mean, it is right on top. It gets very, very loud. The opposing side where they're right on top of the opposing sideline, trash talk, all that type of stuff. So Folsom Field is one of the most authentic, and I think as close as you can get to your team and the other team in college football.
All right, let's talk about the headliner that was on campus, the big visitor. Everybody wants to talk about Julian Lewis back on campus, his 4th visit this cycle to Colorado. And I think I uncovered the Buffs' secret weapon here in recruiting Julian Lewis, and it's thanks to a DNVR interview that I watched. I think I watched it on Friday or Saturday morning. And here, we'll play it right now.
Yeah, with Julian Lewis.
Juju?
What can you tell us about your relationship with him?
Oh, man. I that picture I think you saw where he's standing there with a Georgia shirt on, I guess, with a little scully cap looking like he's a little baby, which he was at that time. We were at Willie's. So my son and I, after practice, because the campus was literally no more than 2 miles away, we would stop at Willie's and get whatever, and Juju and his dad comes in. And the dad say, "Mr. Stewart, I'd like for you to meet my son. This is Juju. Whoa, he wears number 10. And I go shake his hand like a gentleman. And he say, "Man, I've always followed you. I've done my homework, and I know you, whoa, and I wear number 10 because of you." I said, "Really?" I said, "Tell me about 10. He said, "He's a bad man." I said, "Thank you, Juju." Thank you, buddy. And so he ends up, I end up following him on Instagram and watching him go to Pope, the high school, and playing. And everything he did, whether it was Rivals, Adidas, whatever those little 7-on-7 camps that he went to, he's always gotten the winning trophy, or he's always been projected to be the number 1 quarterback in every single class he's been in since he's been on his run after that moment. Because I didn't know who he was before then. Yeah, I just started following him, and he's responded every time I say, "Great work." Like, he'll play a game, I'll watch the highlights or whatever because what he'll post. And I would tell him, "Great job," or I would tell him, "I loved the way you stepped up and made that throw. Great way to keep your eyes down." I would always say little bitty things that he was always responding, say, "Yes, sir, I appreciate you, following," or whatever. And what did you see? So tell me what you saw in that picture when you saw it. Something special on there? Is he supposed to be coming in town?
He is.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
And you're here.
And I'm here.
Yeah.
All right, there you saw it. This relationship with Cordell Stewart and Juju Lewis. Jake, did you know when you were getting that answer from Stewart, did you already know that Lewis and him had a very close relationship like that?
Kinda, because we spent some time talking to Cordell before we spoke to him on Friday, and just kind of digging into his journey back to Colorado, and going back into his time with the Miracle at Michigan and all that. Eventually, we get to Juju, and he starts talking about it. And, I thought that it was just like in passing that they took that picture. The picture I'm talking about, if you go back to Julian, I think his Instagram page, he met Cordell Stewart in like 2018. I mean, Julian is babyface. He's maybe 11 years old. But this relationship does have legs. It does go deep. Cordell has kept in touch with Julian since then. They are really tight. And obviously, 10, Cordell. Julian said that's why he wears number 10 at Carrollton right now, and is probably going to wear 10 when he goes into college. So we kind of found out that day, but a little bit before everyone else did on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah, I think the number thing kind of struck me because that to me was like, oh wow, this is a little deeper than I had thought. Like, this literally could be the edge that gives the if it happens, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if it happens, if the flip occurs, that we could look at this Cordell Stewart relationship as like something that actually, had a big hand in it. So it's really cool to see how you guys do these interviews and just some of the guys that you get to sit down. I don't think anybody but DNVR gets that story out of Cordell Stewart. So thank you. It helps me as well, but you guys got the interview. So after the interview, did Cordell give you like a wink and a nod? Like, yeah, hey Jake, it's done.
Look, this thing has obviously been drawn out a bit. He just came back for the 4th time in the last calendar year. There's strong feelings, from us within the fan base and the program that he's going to be a Buff. I'll do you one more too here, Josh. Scotty McKnight, a Colorado football legend, the wide receiver. This one goes way back too. Julian, when he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated not too long ago, was talking about how he's got this documentary crew filming him and his whole high school career. Scotty McKnight is running that. When Juju got his first offer from Colorado, he used a picture of Scotty McKnight on Twitter. So this thing goes really deep. There are Colorado ties that are really deep. Not just Cordell, not just Scotty McKnight, but this thing almost seems like destiny at some point. We'll see what actually happens, but there are multiple avenues at play here.
Yeah, really, really interesting down the stretch. Is December 4th is when the early signing period is. So we're going to have these next like 4 to 6 weeks are going to be crazy. So we talked about the roster flip. So I want to talk a little transfer portal. Who do you think the biggest hits this offseason were that maybe got overlooked when they were added, but they're making a big impact this season?
Whew. Oh man, Chidozie Nwankwo's got to be up there. The defensive tackle from Houston. He's someone who's really held down the very middle of this defensive line, playing that nose tackle. He's been a problem for a lot of teams. The corners, you can't say enough about these corners, and Colton Hood is one of them. He's not a starter because of what Travis does, playing both ways, and they have DJ McKinney and Preston Hodge. But Colton Hood has been really impressive at his time in Colorado. On the offensive side of the ball, Isaiah Augustov, the running back, he just got the start this last week. He got the start the week before against Arizona. They've been kind of searching for answers at running back, and Isaiah Augustov gives them that physical, a little bit of a dynamic play style too. I think they have some other backs who can do some other things better than Isaiah, but I think Isaiah might have the best blend of everything in that Colorado running back room. I mean, this staff did a great job all offseason. They attacked every position. They wanted to get better at every position. They had hits. They did, of course, have some misses, as you do when you bring in 40-some guys, but the hits outweigh the misses by a ton with this last transfer class.
Yeah, but that's why a college roster has 90 scholarship athletes compared to an NFL roster with just 55. There's going to be hits. There's going to be misses, but I think I agree with you. I think Isaiah probably was the one that flew under the radar, who's probably the most productive, playing the most meaningful minutes this year. But boy, yeah, they did a great job, not just hitting on headlining talent, but also the depth, because there's a lot of concern. There was a lot of talk. Well, will Colorado be able to still have this frontline roster available when they get to down the line? Because last year we saw them with attrition kind of just melt away, but this year they're holding steady. So I want to wrap it up with this. Why isn't Travis Hunter at the top of everyone's Heisman ballot?
Man, we've been trying to answer that question for the last month or so. As you know, when it comes to Colorado, there's this tendency to kind of tear things down with what Colorado does, as opposed to you see what Ashton Genty's doing at Boise State, and it's all uplifting. Let's celebrate this. This is historic. Meanwhile, what we're seeing at Colorado is truly unprecedented, truly historic from Travis Hunter, playing both ways at the level that he's doing, the snaps played. And it's just, I don't know. That's how I feel it is. I feel like people see Deion Sanders, they see Colorado winning, they see them doing well, Shador and Travis, and it's but. It's always but when it comes to Colorado. Travis back healthy now. He showed what he was capable of doing on Saturday, and I think he's going to continue to do that moving forward. This team is in the conversation to win 10 games and compete for a Big 12 title. I think if that happens, you might actually start to see the narrative change to, this is actually pretty impressive from Travis Hunter.
And Travis had a great tweet this morning. He said that he is not chasing records, he's making records. And I think sometimes, Jake, that's kind of hard for people to take in. It's easier for people to say, oh, here's the rushing record. If he beats this, and then as where Travis is doing things and playing a record number of snaps, doing it on offense, doing it on defense. And I think a lot of people don't actually watch Colorado games, Jake, because if you watch the game, you see Travis making an impact at every level, whether it's blocking, tackling. I mean, those aren't the things that we see in the highlights. We see the touchdown catches, we see the interceptions, but if you actually watch a Colorado football game, you see him making an impact nearly every play on both sides of the ball. He's making history, and we're watching it. It's pretty fun to witness. Jake Schwanitz from DNVR, you guys do an incredible job of making content. It's not just fun. I mean, it is fun, but it's also informative. I love what you guys do. If you haven't checked it out yet, DNVR, go check it out. Jake, thanks for stopping by today on the Inside Scoop.
Thanks again, Josh. Thanks for having me.